Yo, welcome back to the studio. I do not endorse violence in any way or capacity, but I do love drawing and reading about it, and seems like you guys do too. Heck, if you're into anime, who doesn't like a good fight scene, baby? Woo! Okay, first things first, you gotta do for any fight scene, like any good comic book writer, set up the premise of your scene. What happened between your characters that is causing a fight in the first place? In one of my previous videos, some of you had some great ideas and suggestions. I decided to take them in stride. Let's take this suggestion as an example. Character A is messing with character B. This guy is probably messing with him. I'm gonna draw 2 fight scenes using this prompt. Let's see if you can do the same. Think creatively about the prompt. How is the first guy messing with him? Fight number 1, the basics. I decided to go in a comedic direction for the first fight. Something stupid to get upset over, like a misunderstanding over a simple magic trick. See here, for the reference I used as an inspiration, a funny Saitama-related meme. Okay, you've set up the conflict. Now draw the outcome. The first dude is messing with the second guy, so he decides to throw a punch. Let's draw it on one page. First, I set up the panel layout on the page. In this case, I'm going to use just 4 panels to lay out the fight in the following order. Number 1, a decision. The character decides to fight. 2, build up. Show the tension or power up that the character needs to throw the first punch. Climax, the big impact of the scene. 4, aftermath of the contact. So 4 panels. Once you're done laying out your panels and you've decided on the storyboard, it's time to sketch your characters in action. In the first panel, I'm going to draw the character snapping. This panel highlights that at this moment, the character has decided to attack. He's got a determined look on his face. In the second panel, the guy is winding up his attack. This is the moment before impact. He makes a big movement, taking a big step backward, swinging his fist, and winding up the punch. The pose can be as dramatic and cartoony as you want it to be. And then, boom, draw the impact. His fist collides into the first guy's face. If you struggle to sketch these dynamic poses, draw stick figures to simplify the movements for yourself. Sketching with stick figures is a great way to make sure that the proportions of your character's skeletons are correct. This is the largest panel on the page because the climax of the fight scene is the big punch. That's what I care about. You want to make sure that your audience can clearly read this layout. Now, I also want to make sure that this punch doesn't look like just a tap on the face. I want to make this look like it hurts. So I'm going to use speed lines to highlight how fast and explosive the attack is. In comics, speed lines or motion lines are repetitive lines that are used to show objects in motion, direction, speed, and impact. In this scene, I also draw speed lines to show how explosive the force of the punch is. These act as arrows pointing to the target in the energy's direction. Finally, you can add a close-up of the damage caused by the fight, the aftermath of the attack. This is a nice way to show your audience how strong your character is. Use these panels to display the type of destructive power your character is capable of. In this case, I'm highlighting the character's squished face, losing a couple of teeth and getting a broken bloody nose. He got messed up real bad. And remember to be creative about the mess. The worst part about fights is the mess left behind. Feel free to add sound effects to finish off the page. Use large, bold lettering to highlight the collisions of the fight. Once you complete the finishing touches, you can show off the fight scene. And them's are the basics. To summarize, set up your conflict, sketch your storyboard, and complete the page with finishing touches. Creative angles. For this last fight, I'm going to use one of my recent character designs to explore different poses and angles you can use for your fight scenes. I'm sure most of you have original characters in mind that you want to use. So, before the fight, make sure you have a solid grasp on the character who will be entering the ring. I designed Street Fighter Barbie based on kickboxers and incorporated the standard boxing outfit seen in movies like Rocky, who's not a kickboxer, he's actually a boxer, but anyway, it works. Here are 3 basic moves you can draw in your fight scenes: a punch or jab, knee kick, and a front kick. These sketches represent the functional skeleton of your characters. The skeleton should include basic shapes for the head, rib cage, pelvis, hands, or in this case fists, and feet. You can always use photo references for the placements of body parts in the correct positions. Since this next fight is going to be set in a boxing match, I used the iconic manga Hajime no Ippo for reference. So I based some of the moves and angles on the panels in this manga. Pretty cool. Very old school and just overall a fantastic artist who is very clear with the character's movements. These last 2 poses are a jab and then a right hook. Perspective can change the angle of visibility for your character. So the jab with her left hand blocks her face, and her right hand hook follows through, making her torso twist in the direction of her punch. The perspective of the boxing glove coming towards us, the audience, makes it appear larger than her torso angled away from our view. When you're drawing your characters in a fight, make sure to include details that show they're putting in the effort. To that effect, I like to add sweat coming off of the character, following their movements. Because I had so much fun drawing these moves, I decided to finish it with some color. This thing kind of looks like a training montage, doesn't it? Very 80s, huh? Okay, time for the actual fight scene. In this scene, the character has already been hit and is sent flying by the force of the punch. This is one panel using a dynamic angle. Think of it as a rotating camera. So the camera is tilted for a dramatic effect. This angle technique is used in comics and cinema for attention. If the camera is tilted, the perspective is also tilted. The horizon is angled towards the right. I'm using 1-point perspective to guide my speed lines. Our eyes, our attention, follow the perspective lines directed away from the point of contact. Remember, in perspective, the farther away an object is, the smaller it appears to be. The closer an object is, the larger it appears. Barbie's punch is emphasized by a large swing, and her victim, opponent, is flung away like nothing. You can imagine how strong her fist must be for it to make a full-grown person fly away like paper. And that is a sense of comedic touch and timing you can include in your comics. Her body is drawn with an outline to accentuate her solid form, and she has very good punching form. You can tell she practices and is built like a boxer. I played with the proportions of her opponent, whose face is kissing the floor. Feel free to play with the proportions of your characters if they've been hit, to emphasize the speed and direction of their motion. These squash and stretch effects have always been used to exaggerate the force of collision or movement in comics and animation. Think of Tom and Jerry or One Piece. The paint on the character's face is what I want to be the focus on the page. The reader can follow the direction of perspective in which this character was hit to see the punch that caused the pain. So follow your view of the page. Oh, and the last detail I added, my favorite little thing of this scene, is the light coming from Barbie's eyes. It increases her intimidation factor. I almost think it makes her look monstrous, a force to be reckoned with in the ring. So to summarize, the motion lines, 1-point perspective, exaggerated character poses, all of these elements work together to make this one-page spread easy to read, and as a fight scene, very effective. Alrighty, and those are 2 fight scenes you can practice and use as a drawing reference. Do your fights look like they hurt? Do you like playing some angry music in the background like I do? Want to give me some more ideas or prompts for future videos? Let me know in the comments. Hope to see you next time.